Everyone talks about what gear to buy. Tactical backpacks, water filters, freeze-dried rations, the whole prepper shopping list. But when Katrina drowned New Orleans, when the Texas grid froze, when 9/11 sent Manhattan into chaos, the people who survived weren't necessarily the most equipped. They were the most mentally prepared. The truth about survival isn't sexy. It's not about who has the biggest stockpile or the most expensive gear. Hell, some of the survivors I've studied made it through with nothing but a garbage bag and pure, stubborn willpower. The difference between breathing and becoming a statistic comes down to psychology, to invisible laws that operate whether you believe in them or not. There are 6 of them. Master these and you've got a fighting chance. Ignore them and your $1,000 bug-out bag becomes a very expensive coffin decoration. Let's get into it. Law 1. Blend in or get picked off. The gray man principle. Picture the first 72 hours after the grid goes down. Grocery stores are getting ransacked, gas stations are war zones, everyone's scrambling, and in that chaos, you know what gets you killed? Looking prepared. That tactical vest with all the attachments might as well be a bullseye on your chest. Those 5'11" pants and that operator beard, you just became the guy everyone's following home to raid your stash. In a crisis, desperation makes people dangerous, and desperate people target the prepared. The gray man theory is simple. Become forgettable. Not invisible, forgettable. Wear what everyone else wears. Move like everyone else moves. Don't make eye contact for too long. Don't walk too confidently. Don't do anything that creates a memory. Your brain's reticular activating system is designed to filter out the unremarkable, which is exactly where you want to be. This isn't cowardice, it's operational security. While everyone else is advertising their capabilities, you're crossing ground unnoticed, getting to safety while the crowd's still deciding which Instagram filter makes the apocalypse look best. Yeah, you'll look boring. You'll also live. No tactical gear in public. Earth tones, generic bags, 0 logos. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying not to be remembered 5 minutes after you walk past someone. The people who survived Katrina's aftermath, they were the ones who quietly moved through the chaos, helped their neighbors without advertising it, and didn't become targets. That's the gray man principle. Law 2. Act before the herd panics. The 72-hour psychology shift. Here's what most people don't get about disasters. Panic doesn't happen immediately. Research from disaster psychology shows the opposite. Most people experience denial first. They stand around refreshing their phones, waiting for someone to tell them what to do. That's your window. Those first few hours while everyone's still processing, still hoping this is temporary, still thinking it can't be that bad, that's when you move. Because here's what happens around the 72-hour mark. Reality hits. The food in the fridge is spoiled, the water stopped running, cell towers are dead. That's when the herd mentality kicks in, when panic buying becomes panic taking, when rational people start doing irrational things. Studies from every major crisis show the same pattern. Fear of scarcity triggers herd behavior. One person rushing for supplies causes 10 more to do the same, even if they don't know why. The crowd becomes its own threat.
When you recognize the pattern, the people who died waiting for rescue in Katrina, many of them stayed because they assumed help would come quickly. The ones who survived made hard decisions in the first hours, not the first days. By then, the roads were impassable, the options were gone. Time is your most valuable resource, and you're spending it whether you're moving or not. Law 3. Water isn't just physical, it's strategic clarity. Everyone knows you need water. 3 days without it, you're done. But what the survival manuals don't emphasize enough is that dehydration doesn't just shut down your body, it shuts down your brain. Research shows that losing just 2% of your body weight in fluids, that's barely noticeable thirst, impairs your attention, your motor skills, and your short-term memory. Your decision-making suffers, your reaction time slows. You start making the kind of small mistakes that compound into a catastrophe. Think about that. You're already under stress. Cortisol is spiking. Your fight-or-flight response is in overdrive. Now add dehydration to that mix. Suddenly, you can't remember which direction you were heading, can't focus on the task in front of you, can't think clearly enough to solve a simple problem. Water isn't just a physical necessity, it's cognitive currency. Every decision you make, every threat you assess, every plan you execute, all of it depends on your brain functioning properly. And your brain is about 75% water. This is why the first thing you secure in any crisis isn't food, it's water. Not just for tomorrow, but for your ability to think clearly today. 1 gallon per person per day is the baseline. In a crisis where you're moving, working, stressed, double it. The survivors of the 2003 European heatwave weren't just the ones who had water, they were the ones who recognized early that their thinking was compromised and made simpler, safer decisions. The ones who died, many were found with water right next to them. They just stopped thinking clearly enough to drink it. Law 4. Conserve energy like gold, calories as operational currency. Your body is a machine, and machines run on fuel. In a survival situation, every calorie you burn is a resource you can't easily replace. This isn't about dieting, this is about operational economics. The average person burns about 2,000 calories a day doing nothing. Add stress, movement, cold weather, and that number climbs fast. Meanwhile, your ability to replace those calories is probably zero. The stores are empty, your stockpile is finite. Smart survivors think in terms of energy profit and loss. Every action costs calories. Walking 5 miles to check if a store has supplies? That's 300 to 400 calories you're betting on maybe finding 200 calories of food. That is a losing trade. This is why the best survival strategy is often doing less, not more. Find shelter and stay there. Conserve movement. Let others burn through their energy running around accomplishing nothing. You're playing the long game, and the long game is about ratios. A study of survival situations found that the people who made it the longest weren't the most active, they were the most efficient. They moved with purpose, rested often, and didn't waste energy on emotional outbursts or unnecessary tasks. Your body is burning calories just keeping you warm and processing stress.
Don't add to that burn rate unless you're getting something valuable in return. Every trip outside is a transaction. Make it count. Law 5. Fire equals warmth plus exposure, a dual-edged sword. Fire is fundamental, it keeps you warm, purifies water, cooks food, and provides immense psychological comfort in a world gone dark. But fire also broadcasts your location to everyone within miles. This is the kind of trade-off that separates survivors from victims, understanding that every advantage has a cost. Fire makes you warm. It also makes you visible. That smoke plume rising into the sky, it's a beacon. In a scenario where resources are scarce and morality is negotiable, you just told every desperate person in the area exactly where you are. The psychology of fire is complicated. Humans are drawn to it. It feels safe, like civilization, like control. That emotional pull is dangerous because it overrides tactical thinking. Smart survivors use fire strategically, not emotionally. Small fires in concealed locations, fires during the day when smoke disperses better, fires only when the benefit clearly outweighs the risk. Or they find alternate heat sources entirely. The gray man principle applies to fire too. If everyone in your area has fires going, yours blends in. If you're the only light source in 20 miles of darkness, you've just failed the first law. Law 6. Mindset is the final line when everything else fails. Air Force survival instructors teach that survival is 10% physical skills and 90% mental. That's not motivational poster nonsense. That's statistical reality. Research on disaster survivors consistently identifies the same psychological traits: mental toughness, emotional resilience, adaptability, and what's called active problem solving versus passive victimhood. The people who survive aren't the strongest or smartest, they're the ones who refuse to quit. Aaron Ralston amputated his own arm with a dull multi-tool to escape a boulder. Joe Simpson crawled for days with a broken leg in the Andes. Survivors of 9/11 made impossible decisions in seconds that saved their lives. What they all had in common wasn't physical superiority, it was psychological resilience. The ability to accept reality, adapt to it, and act despite overwhelming fear. You can train this. Cold showers, fasting, intense exercise, learning a new skill that frustrates you, all of this builds the mental calluses that matter when everything goes sideways. The mind is a muscle. Like any muscle, it gets stronger when you stress it appropriately. When your gear fails, when your plan falls apart, when everything you prepared for isn't enough, mindset is what's left. It's the difference between giving up and trying one more thing. And that one more thing is usually what saves you.
The survival community loves talking about gear, about skills, about the perfect bug out location. Those things matter, but they're not what determines who lives. What determines survival is understanding these psychological laws and internalizing them before you need them. It's recognizing that the prepper with $50,000 in gear who panics in the first hour is going to die faster than the person with nothing but mental toughness and clear thinking. The prepared mind beats the prepared pack every single time. So when everyone else is arguing about which water filter is best, you're training your mind to stay calm under pressure. While they're buying another tactical flashlight, you're learning to make decisions when you're scared and dehydrated and exhausted. While they're planning to be the hero, you're planning to be forgettable, efficient, and alive. Because survival isn't about stuff, it's about psychology. And psychology is the only prep you can't lose, can't have stolen, and can't run out of. Now get out there and build the mindset that matters. Your $1,000 kit won't save you, but the invisible code in your head just might.